Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of On the Mark, straight talk across the narrows. I am Troy Liburd, and I will be with you this evening for 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. You know, it's always wonderful that we could come here and, have a good discussion with you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course people in the wider world who listen to On the Mark on a Wednesday evening. It's good information, it's good interaction. So people get good information from this show. So I'm always pleased to come here on a Wednesday whenever I have the opportunity to share some thoughts with all of you and to hear your thoughts. Of course, it's quite a bit that's happening in the world around us and quite a bit happening in the Federation. Indeed, right now it's a sort of, is that a good word to use? Yeah, precarious time politically here in the Federation. There's quite a bit of uncertainty where certain things are concerned. But, I believe that time will sort a lot of these things out, and in short order we will have some resolution to some of the things that are going on. So tonight there's quite a bit that we can talk about. Of course, at the top of the show, we always like to welcome in all of our listeners and viewers to On the Mark. Those of you who are listening via the traditional radio 860 on your AM dial, or if you are watching us on the World Wide Web at www.vonradio.com, we want to welcome you. For those who are watching via YouTube, the Von Radio link, the Facebook is down tonight. I'm told the Facebook is down, so you can definitely tune in on YouTube tonight. So those of you who are accustomed to get On the Mark via Facebook, our Facebook link is not operational tonight, but you can tune into YouTube. Go on YouTube and search for Von Radio. Click on Von Radio, you'll see the live link, and you can be a part of On the Mark. It's always good to come here and to interact with you. In the past, it used to just be radio, but now we can come and you can hear our voices, and you can also see our faces on the Mark. I remember one time I was walking through Charlestown, and I was having a conversation with somebody. The person was across on the other side of the road, so I had to speak kind of loudly. And when I spoke, somebody came up to me with a little accent, and they said, "Oh, you're Troy Liburd." I said, "Very nice to meet you." And they said, "Yeah, I heard you on the Mark, and I heard your voice. I heard you speaking to the person, and that's how I knew who you were." So, they would pick up the voice, but now you can put the face to the voice. So we are live on 860, and we are also streaming live on YouTube. Technology is wonderful when you use it for very good purposes. So of course I want to welcome in all of you who have decided to join us here this evening. I think we're going to have a wonderful show. Those in the Far East, Taiwan and those type of places where I think it's morning now. It's already the day after. We want to welcome you. Thanks for starting off your morning with us. Those in Europe, in England, France, those areas where it's the wee hours of the morning. I think some of you are 8 hours ahead of us and that type of thing. Those of you who are staying up in the wee hours of the morning to be with us, we really, really appreciate you sticking with On the Mark week after week. For those of us here in the Western Hemisphere, Canada, the United States, here in the Caribbean, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, in Cuba, wherever you are, St. Martin, in the Windward Islands, in Trinidad, in Guyana, wherever you are, of course here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we want to welcome all of you to the show. How can I forget my good friends in Puerto Rico? Every time I'm shouting out people on the show, and I don't shout out Puerto Rico, I get a call and they say, well, Troy, what happened? You forgot about us? Don't forget about us. So my good friends in Puerto Rico, I want to welcome you. I know that you're listening. You don't call in, but you listen every single week. You listen to us religiously, and so I want to welcome all of you to On The Mark this week. Of course, at the top of the show, we always like to start off by sending out condolences to those who have suffered loss. I think we would have lost Mr. Charles Busso, very prominent man here on the island of Nevis. I think sometime last week I would have heard about that, and I want to send out condolences to his family. Definitely I get along well with some of his children, and so I want to send out condolences to them. Some of his grandchildren, condolences to you and all those who mourn. He was a very popular person. He was somebody who was very friendly, somebody who you could approach and have a conversation with, and he always had good advice to give. So very, very pleasant gentleman, and he would be missed. Condolences to everyone else who has lost a loved one. I don't have all of the names here with me, and of course last Saturday we would have had the homegoing service, the funeral service for the late great Honorable Van Semi, former Premier of Nevis, the second Premier of Nevis, who would have served as Premier for some 18 years combined. And I know a lot has been said, you know, where he's concerned, but he's certainly somebody who would have contributed significantly, who would have gone above and beyond what regular service is, and he would have left some really, really big shoes that, you know, won't be filled anytime soon. He's a giant of a man, the likes of whom I don't think we would see again here on the island of Nevis. He would have been a trailblazer and so on, and would have done a lot in his lifetime, and so we can't celebrate him enough. So condolences, of course, again to the family. Of course, on the flip side of that, where we have some people suffering, life is about ups and downs. So while some people are down in the valley or at the bottom of the sine wave, some persons are cresting and they're riding on the top. So for those who are celebrating, you know, we also want to celebrate with all of you. Today's what date? Today is actually the 4th of May. I like May. Okay. I come over here on the mark every month, and yeah, I like every month, but for me May is special. I really like May. May is my favorite month of the year. Just so everybody knows, it's the 5th month, so it's kind of close to the middle of the year, but it's my favorite month, and I really like it. And I tend to like the first week or so of May more than the rest of the month. It's my favorite time of year, actually. Some people enjoy Christmas and so on, some people enjoy the summer, but I like May. This time of year is a time where I normally reflect and so on, and so I've been doing a lot of that lately. So I want to send out congratulations to all those who are celebrating, and you know, it's a good time to be celebrating. People who are born in May are very, very good people. Not that people born in other months are not good, but I have a special liking for people who are born in May. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to On The Mark. I'm your host, Troy Liburd. I think we're going to have a good show. Let me start off by talking about the golf insurance primary school championships that were held here on the island of Nevis at the Mondo track last week, Wednesday. And I must say that we had a wonderful time at the Golf Insurance Championships. The meet, of course, was sponsored by Golf. Golf has been sponsoring the meet for, I think, about 28 years. And when we decided that, okay, for 2022, we were going to try to have, oh my, ladies and gentlemen, let me backtrack just a little bit before I go into speaking about the Golf Insurance Championships. Let me just backtrack a little bit, because I happened to pick up my phone because I had a message coming in, and I was just given, well, it's let's see, it's new to me. The news is new to me, that Mrs. Myrtle Gishard, who is the mother of the Honorable Malcolm Gishard of blessed memory, she would have passed on. I believe that this would be today, so I want to send out condolences to the entire Gishard family. And Mrs. Gishard is somebody who I knew personally. I knew her very, very, very well. I think I would have known her about as long as I would have known myself. Since I was a little boy, I knew her, going to church and so on. We attended the same church for many, many years, the Gingerland Seventh-day Adventist Church. So I knew her since I knew myself. Very pleasant lady, and so I want to send out condolences to the entire family. So yeah, so we're back to talking about the Golf Insurance Championships that was held last week, Wednesday, at the Mondo track. And what a sports meet it was. I think everybody was happy. Everybody was happy to be back out and to see Interprimary come back to Nevis. I believe that people have been telling me that it's probably the largest Interprimary that we have ever had here on Nevis. All throughout the day, throughout the meet, I was hearing, this is the largest Interprimary meet we've ever had. The parking lot to the north of the Mondo track was filled to capacity. The parking lot to the west of the Mondo track was filled to capacity, and the parking lots inside of the Mondo track itself, they were also filled. So we had quite a lot of people at the Mondo track. I remember taking a walk around the track and going through the crowd, and the crowd was so thick. So it felt really, really good to be out and about and to be among so many people after just about 2 years of being in lockdowns and being in curfew and all of those type of things, not being able to interact with people. It felt really, really good to be out and to see so many people out in their numbers interacting and so on. And it also felt really, really good to see the children, who are the stars of the day, go out and do their thing on the track. Of course, we are aware that Charlestown Primary School, they would have come out the overall victor on the sports day. I think the St. Thomas's Primary School, they would have placed second overall, and the Joycelyn Liburd Primary School, my alma mater, would have placed third overall. With respect to the B division, I believe that the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, they would have placed first overall, and the Maud Cross Preparatory School would have placed second overall. I'm aware that there was a bit of controversy concerning the placement for the B division. I'm aware that on the night of the event, immediately following the event, the scores that were brought in had the Mud Cross Preparatory School being first in the B division and the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School being second in the division, and some subsequent, I think in the post-mortem meeting that would normally happen between the meet supervisor and the coaches and so on, whatever discrepancies that would have happened throughout the day, that they were discovered. And so the persons responsible for managing the meet on the day of the meet, they have been having several meetings with the principals and the representatives from each school. We were actually supposed to have a press briefing this afternoon where we would have clarified everything to the general public, but unfortunately we were not able to have that press briefing. We've postponed the briefing and we are waiting for some information to come, and then we would be able to schedule that briefing and give the general public the necessary information. So that information will be coming shortly as to what the final placings and positions are for the Gulf Insurance Championships for 2022. But I think in the meantime we could all feel good about the event itself, and you know, we can feel good for the children, we can feel good for Nevis to have the event back up and running. I certainly felt really good about it. We had a large contingent of persons coming over from St. Kitts to view the sports. I felt very good about that. We had persons from the SKN AAA, that's the Athletics Association here in St. Kitts and Nevis. They run athletics within the federation. We had quite a large contingent from that body coming over to, you know, look at the sports and to look at our young people, because there are lots of opportunities out there in track and field, and we would want to see some of these young persons who are performing at the top level go on in the future to you know, become world class and so on, and to perform. And so we had folks from SKN AAA coming over to look at the students. We also had quite a large contingency of politicians, leaders and so on coming over to look at the sports. Indeed, the Labour Party would have brought over a very large contingency. I think about 8 or 9 of them would have come over. I happened to be close to the gate when they came over, and I walked in with them. They were led by the Labour leader, Dr. Drew, and also the immediate past leader and the past Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas. He was also there, and you know, all of the other Labour candidates and so on were also there. We also had the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Sean Richards, who came over to observe the sports. And Deputy Prime Minister Richards is somebody who comes to Nevis on the regular for events, inter-primary, you know, whatever events are happening on Nevis, Sean comes over regularly. So we were happy to host, you know, all of these distinguished persons. We were also very lucky. We had a visit from Mr. DuPont. Everybody knows Mr. Carlton DuPont, who's a very popular guy here in the Federation. He has his radio show and so on, very popular show, and he would have made a donation of watches. So he donated a watch to the Victor Ladorum and to the Victrix Ladorum, and you know, we want to thank Mr. DuPont for that kind and generous donation that he gave. I'm sure those athletes would feel very good that they performed well and that their performance was rewarded tangibly. So we want to thank Mr. DuPont, who came over, and I met up with him at the sports, and DuPont said to me, everybody knows how DuPont talks. So DuPont said to me, he said, "Boy, try this. There's a whole lot of people over here, I heard about this interprimary thing, but I didn't know that this interprimary thing was so big. This is a whole lot of people over here." And then he proceeded to walk all around the ground like the celebrity that he is, and everybody was shaking his hand and so on. So I want to thank you, Mr. DuPont, for your kind contribution. I'm sure the Victrix and the Victor Ladorum that they are very, very happy. So interprimary, I would say it was a massive success, and of course we're looking to improve the sports. We know we had a little controversy with the scoring and so on, and when we do have the press conference, there are a few announcements that we are going to be making during that press conference about the direction that we want to take the sports in terms of the point system, or the way that we are going to adjudge the winner. So there are some changes that are going to be implemented for the next year and for interprimary going forward. Some of these changes were already being contemplated prior to COVID coming in, and so they were just not implemented yet because of the whole issue that we had with COVID and so on. And earlier in this year, we weren't absolutely sure that we would have been able to put on the interprimary, so we didn't want to make all of these changes. You would notice that interprimary was actually being held this year after the Easter vacation break. It would normally be probably the last week of school before school goes to break for Easter, but this year we had to do it after the break because we wanted to give the coaches and the students a little extra time to train up, so that the competition on the day of the sports was a lot better. It also gave us some more time to plan for the event, because we did not, at the beginning of the year, we did not have the go-ahead to go with the sports, and we only got that once the number of COVID cases and so on would have plateaued and then would have gone down close to zero. We know that earlier in the year we had a little spike of COVID cases, and so by the grace of God we were able to control that, arrest that situation. The COVID cases came down and we were able to have the sports meet. The sports meet was a resounding success, and we had one of the largest crowds ever. Some persons say it was the largest crowd ever, and so we want the meet to continue to grow from strength to strength, and we also want to see some of our students, some of our top students from the interprimary level go on to high school and be exceptional, and from high school we want to see them maybe in universities around the world. They can have those opportunities, or we can see them on the biggest, brightest stage, the Olympics and the World Championships and that type of thing, and go on to the Diamond League and become professional athletes and make a lot of money in the process, and make us here in St. Kitts and Nevis very, very proud. So that is what we are hoping for. That is what we are looking for some of our young persons, those with the gift for running and the gift for athletics, and those who are willing to put in the time and train hard and work hard towards that goal. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. We are about 25 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. Of course, this is a call-in show. The show is what it is because we normally have our callers come in and give us their views and so on. and so I won't hold the show too much longer. When the lines are open, of course, the numbers to call are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700, and there are a whole lot of things to talk about. I started out talking about Interprimary, of course, being the minister with responsibility for education. It was my ministry that put on the Interprimary Sports in conjunction, of course, with the Ministry of Sports. We had help from the Ministry of Communications to the Public Works and so on, and so I want to thank all of them. I want to send out a special thanks to Permanent Secretary Barrett and to PEO Zanella Claxton. They did a wonderful job coordinating this whole interprimary thing. Interprimary is a big undertaking, and so I want to commend them for the hard work that they put in and for the good work, and I want to commend the team too, because from the time we got the go ahead to do Interprimary, we had to put a team together, and it was a team that did all the work to bring the sports to the success that we had. I think we have a caller. We have our first caller for tonight. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello?
Hey, Cat.
Yes, caller, you're on the mark.
Yeah, I want to say, heal up to my brother, in America. Aggressive, and meow. It's not great. And I see somebody violent.
So how you not aggressive listening? He tell you he listening?
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
So what's that? I'm here to you though.
All right, my brother. Take care.
But what's that, boy? The primary thing was big issue.
You had a good time at the sports?
Boy, yeah, me put up on people, they were not coming.
Okay, that's good, man.
Alright, everything is everything.
Alright, take care of yourself. You have a wonderful night. That's the one and only Poochie Dalbal calling in to big up Aggressive and some of those other guys out there in the US and in the US Virgin Island. I too want to say a special good night to my cousin Aggressive. You have a good one. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night. How are you?
I am good. Congratulations for the CPS. That's all I have to say. Psalm 56, verse 5 and 6. Every day, the rest, my words, all their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. May God continue to bless all of us. Mark, take it easy, you know what you do. Good night.
Thank you very much, caller. Do you have another caller on the line? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take the opportunity to... We have a caller? Okay. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, caller. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
First issue. The Carissa athletes, was there a ceremony or any embracement for them since they come back?
I think that there was something on St. Kitts when the athletes came back, and when they came up to Nevis, those from Nevis, they were met by officials from the Ministry and Department of Sports.
Okay. Because I know if they had get medals, it would have been a big thing, and we need to embrace the children in this CMA because some of them perform real well. I remember calling about the aspect. Well, before he used to have young Willett representing Charlestown, Newton never had the opportunity. But now, Newton has surpassed Willett. Same thing, that's why we need the changes. But Interprimary, I hear talk about some changes. I was wondering who are the persons making these changes, if a real track-orientated persons making these changes. Okay, apart from the Carissa, the organization of the Interprimary itself, man, are the worst. The children perform, but the organization was worse.
Why would you say that?
because children in the wrong area where you expect the security to be, the races were long, the points were wrong, school strategized wrong because of what was going on. The races were, 400 around 1200 at least going out when we know that the athletes are going to be running consecutive races. So again now, why do we have B zone and A zone when we know that the B zone is based, as B zone as they say, is based on the population of the school. So I don't know, one child from a B zone going to run enough race. Why were we rushing like that and we considering a B zone? Question. We have 2 zones in one race. If the B zone is to acquire a point or a medal, they have to be the A zone. So what the point of having an A zone or a B zone? Because they're still in the same race. The B zone child is not going to get a medal if they beat all the B schools. They have to beat all the A schools to get a point to begin with. So yeah, we need some of the changes, and I don't know who's going to make the changes or what type of changes are made, and we need some transparency. Interprimary going to make, like, Interprimary gone there, I could tell you, make over $150,000. What are the children going to get? What are the schools going to get? We need some kind of transparency in that these nothing like to hide. If you can't give the children direct money, but we want to know like incentives what the children are going to get. I mentioned about scholarships and so on. These are the things that we want, because for me, when I heard $1,000 school supplies voucher, I was like, what? And school uniform, everything, couple books and so maybe come up $500, $600. That should have, the money should have gone in the parents' account. So yeah, we just want to know like who make decisions, and because people have their little input, and the input might be a little better than the first opinion that was there. Yeah, and so I will call back again.
Okay, thank you very much, Carla. You've made quite a few points. As you rightfully said, it's all about the children. What we're doing, we should do in the best interest of the children. I did say that some changes are underway, and when we do have that press conference, we are going to discuss some of those things. Of course, this Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis is a democracy, and we are always open to good ideas. We listen to ideas wherever they come from, and if the ideas are good and they can be implemented, we implement them. Again, I think the sports was a success. I have a differing opinion. I think the sports was well organized. It takes a lot to carry out a meet like that. There are lots of moving parts, quite a lot of races to get done. Of course, when it was contemplated to have a B division and an A division, the B division was contemplated so that the smaller schools would have something to run for, that they would have something to look forward to coming to the interprimary. Of course, we know there are some schools with very large populations, and then some have small populations, so that's why it was considered. Let's go back to the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hey, yeah, good night again. And you see the same press conference that they had before the interprimary. It was nonsense having the children just sitting there in a chair. The children should have been up there around the round table, because all of what was said there, the children had nothing care about nothing what been said there. The children should have been up there at the round table, and somebody been asking them questions. What type of races you like? What you want to really be? Do you like have the interest in sport? Who is your greatest rival? Ask them questions, make them feel like it's not, because everybody else say it's all for the children. I see nothing for the children, it's all for just up there. So yeah, the press conference, I more think that the children need to be at the round table, and at a point in time, the children are being questioned. Yeah.
Thank you very much, caller.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, straight talk across the narrows. We're having a little discussion about interprimary, but of course, if there are any other issues that persons want to raise, please feel free to call in and raise those issues. Of course, I want to take a little deviation from the sports, but feel free to call back in and talk about the sports if that's what you want to talk about. Feel free to call in and congratulate the winners, congratulate the students. If you know a student who excelled and you want to call in and congratulate that student, that's what the show is here for. The numbers to call when you decide to call in are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. I want to take a little deviation from the sports, of course, and talk a little bit of politics, because politics is in the air, and this, of course, is a political show. And we know what has been the major thing happening in politics recently. Just today, we had another leaked letter, and it seems as though leak is the name of the thing these days, because nowadays it seems as though one cannot write a letter and the letter is not leaked and the letter does not end up in the public sphere. It does not end up on Facebook, or it does not end up going around in group chats on WhatsApp and so on, or being sent out as forwarded messages. When you see these forwarded messages, they say forwarded too many times. So today, the Governor General would have responded to the letter that he would have received some time back from the majority of elected representatives in the National Assembly, and that majority comprised of 6 elected representatives. I think we have 11 constituencies in the federation, and so 6 from 11 would leave 5. So 6 members of 6 elected representatives would have written and signed on a letter and sent to the Governor General to say that they no longer have confidence or support the Prime Minister, and that they would place their support behind the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean K. Richards, to be Prime Minister. The Governor General would have responded today saying that he does not, under the Constitution, he does not have the power to remove the Prime Minister like that. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello, caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is Jennifer Liburd calling in.
How are you doing, Jennifer?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm calling to congratulate all the athletes, all the schools, for what they would have done. The children did their best. I'd like to also congratulate the coaches and teachers who work tirelessly with these children in the hot sun. And I would like to especially mention my grandson, Kelwan Liburd Jr., who shocked us all. He ran under certain conditions, but he did his best. And I must say,
and I did see him running, and I think he won quite a few races.
Yes, he won 3 out of 4 races. He came first for 3 of the races he won. And to my other grandson, Kewanje, yes, he was on standby, but I must say, to God be the glory, great things he has done. Good night.
Good night. Thanks a lot for your call, and of course, I join you in congratulating your grandson and all of the other athletes. I also join you in congratulating our hard-working teachers and our hard-working coaches. And I saw the coaches, and they tell me, they keep telling me, Minister, we're working all through the holidays. We didn't get any holidays because we had to be out every day, early morning, training the children, and going to the exercises. They had training in the morning and then training in the afternoon sometimes, and so the coaches, they sacrifice their Easter vacation to ensure that their school and that their children were well prepared for the sports, and we all saw the result of that hard work on display. The type of performances that we saw on the track those performances don't come from just getting up and going and running. They came from hard work and dedication. We also had the Charlestown Secondary Schools who had their sports meet this past Sunday. That also was a very, very lovely sports meet. They would have held back the meet a bit to try to ensure that the athletes were getting in the best possible shape. The sports meet was supposed to be held, I think it was last Friday, but because of the fact that we were observing the period of mourning and that the mortal remains of the Honorable Vance Amy would have been at the courthouse at that time, where he was lying in state. The sports meet was put back from Friday to Sunday. That also had a very, very large crowd, not as big as Inter Primary, but for the standards of a high school, that was a very, very large crowd. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the phone. We've lost that caller. Callers, when you're calling in, please be patient with us. Sometimes I might be saying something, but when I get the cue that I have a call, I will defer and come to the phone as much as possible. The numbers to call: 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700, and the lines are open. So I was saying Charlestown Secondary School, they also had their sports meet this past Sunday. I was there at the Mondo track and we had quite a good time. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, good night.
Good night. You realize Inter Primary is streamed worldwide, right?
Excuse me, I didn't get that, sorry.
You realize Inter Primary is streamed worldwide, right?
Yes, I realize.
And the last 3 Inter Primary that we had them at Mondo, and none of them end well. I hope next year gonna be better.
How would you say they did not end well, caller? Hello?
Hello?
Why would you say they did not end well?
Because the first year we had a winner, and the other day was a different winner. The other year we had a tie, and then it wasn't a tie. And then this year we had different champions again. And
okay,
how
caller.
do you think the children really feel now? When we think about the children, when some children have to return medals, some children have to not have that, vibe in them that they want.
I don't think it's the case where any children has to return a medal. I think there was some mix-up with the overall scores. That's where I think the mix-up that we had came in.
And let me ask another question.
Sure.
Because even on the streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw on the results that a school was disqualified for a relay.
Mm-hmm.
But then in other races, I see a lot of children running out the lane, big children. So I mean, we have to get a proper system, because make no sense to have these children, big children from grade 4 going up training to run in lanes, and half of them run out the lane, wasn't disqualified, and yet still a relay team was disqualified just for running a little out of a zone, still in the lane. I think we have to revise a lot of things.
Okay, Carl, I take your point. I know that we have persons who operate as judges at the sports meet, and some of these things are at the discretion of the judges. Of course, anybody who has a complaint, they can lodge the complaint with the meet director, and then a review would be done. The particular schools that are involved with the review would send a representative, whether the coach or whomever. If there are 2 or 3 schools involved, they would send the coach and a representative, and they would sit with the meet director and the other persons. And as you said, we have video footage, so that video footage would be reviewed, and then they would come to some consensus and some sort of conclusion.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, you see over on the back stretch, where the 200 is, you need a camera over there, where you stream over there and come around the corner, because that's where most of the mishaps happen, and children running on the line. So you need another camera as well on the back stretch, where the children actually start to cut out of the lane, because when a child start running on the line or cut out the lane, they actually running a shorter distance than they should.
Okay, Carla.
Good.
Thank you very much. I like that caller. He has brought some sound points tonight, and I really appreciate that. That's what On The Mark is about. If you have an opinion and you have something positive that you want to offer, then this is the place to call in. And I really value persons who come and try to do some constructive criticism and offer some good ideas in the process. So Carl, I want to thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. It's 8:45 and we're having a good robust discussion here. Most of it has been centered on the sports meet that we've had, more particularly inter-primary. I was talking a little bit about the Charlestown Secondary School and what a good meet they had there. At the Charlestown Secondary School sports, I saw lots of performances that were really good performances, but for me there was one athlete that really stood out and was certainly memorable. So whenever I think about that sports, I think about that athlete because he was an exceptional athlete. I think he's the son of Trisha Wilkinson. Trisha, who teaches at Charlestown Primary School, and I think he was in the class 3, and he was exceptional. I think he broke 3 records, if I'm not mistaken. We have a call on the line. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark tonight. We lost that caller. Callers, please be patient with us tonight. I'm going to try to give our callers as much run as possible tonight. So I was saying that at Charlestown Secondary School that there was one athlete who I thought was, very exceptional. There were other athletes who put on good performances, but that athlete just stood out to me because it seemed as though every race he ran in, he broke the record. He ran in the 200 meter, the record went. The 100 meter, the record went. The 400 meters, the record went. And I thought that was exceptional. That is not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to go out and run a 400 meter, break a record, come back, run a 100 meter, break a record, come back, run a 200 meter and break a record. So that I found to be exceptional. And so athletes like those are the ones that we really have to look out for and nurture them and try to hone that talent and see that talent take those athletes to some real great places and to some lofty heights. I understand that he's trained by the great Kervin Wallace, and so he would be in good hands because Kervin is somebody who knows his way around the track, and he himself would have performed on a world-class stage, on the world-class level for a period of time, and so he knows what it takes to get athletes to that level and for them to maintain that type of level. So while I saw a lot of performances, I was very impressed by that athlete for those record-breaking performances. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. You see, every time I go to talk the politics, I'm back on the sports. I want to talk a little bit of politics. Well, politics I was talking before. Oh yes, I think I was talking about this whole situation where the Governor General has now responded to the 6 members of the Federal Parliament, the 6 elected representatives, the 6 elected representatives, and I think the letter is now out. As a matter of fact, yes, I have a copy of the letter, so let me read what the letter said, because since it's out in the general public, everybody has seen it, or most persons have. But for the benefit of those who haven't, the letter goes: Dear elected representatives, I have reviewed your communication requesting the Governor General to remove the Prime Minister and to appoint another minister in his stead. I wish to advise that under our Constitution, no such power resides in the Governor General. and I am therefore unable to accede to your request. Signed, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello, good evening. I'm calling to find out if you have any information concerning the incident that took place on the beach with the white lady with the children.
The incident that took place on the beach? Yes, good evening. Caller, we had that incident several weeks ago. Since then, we would have had the husband of the lady that was involved with the incident. She would have met with officials from the Ministry of Education. He would have also visited the St. Thomas's Primary School. The students being involved with the situation were students from the St. Thomas's Primary School. The gentleman would have also gone to the St. Thomas's Primary School when they had the PEP rally there prior to the inter-primary school celebration, prior to the inter-primary school sports, and he would have spoken to the students during the PEP rally. He would have addressed the student body. He would have made a formal apology on behalf of his wife and himself to the entire student body and to the school. And so that is where the situation is as of now. So the gentleman would have gone and apologized on behalf of his wife and on behalf of himself for what happened on the beach. Quite an unfortunate situation that happened. Of course, it's something that should never happen here on Nevis. Our beaches are public. Members of the general public have access to the beach. And so, when people come to our country, they would have to, respect our laws and respect our people, and that is where we stand on this. So the gentleman would have apologized. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. I would have just read the letter to the 6 elected representatives that came from the Governor General. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yeah, you say you want to talk some politics. So, me got a question. So, like when I get the 10% answer, right? How come persons what get the minimum wage don't get a 20% based on their salary? Because if you don't give somebody 10% per minimum wage, them only get $100, $150 more, and then everything gone up, food gone up, what's gone up, and then when you put on the 10% on them salary, social still take out the 8% out of the general salary, so it's still not really add up for a low salary income person. Alright, or wrong?
Caller, I get where you're coming from, but increases when they are done across the board. What I would say is I always encourage people to.
I know, because you 10% gonna look good, you know.
My 10%? How you know I'm getting a 10%? What makes you feel like parliamentarians and so on were included in this 10%?
I well paid, man. I well paid.
Why would you say that, caller?
Huh?
Why would you say that?
Well, everybody know that is a general fact. Ministers and so well paid.
I don't believe that ministers in these areas are so well paid. I don't believe so.
That.
Not for the type of obligations that you have sometimes.
Even with double salary, and ministers and so we pay the same electrical bill, water bill. When the minister's salary double up compared to the same low income person, I mean, that does run up the tax,
Alright, caller, you have a good one. I like that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. That caller would have raised a rather interesting point, and that brings me to the Prime Minister's speech that he would have made on Labor Day, May 2nd. The Prime Minister would have made a speech on Labor Day that highlighted certain policies that are being put in place to sort of help the general public. One of the things that was put in place, and I want to stress that this was put in place by the government, this was put in place by the cabinet, and these were things that were being debated or being discussed by the cabinet over a period of time, that these were not things that were just arbitrarily done by one individual, that one individual got up in the morning and decided that they're going to do this for the people. These were things that were being discussed over a period of time, and had been sort of concluded, and were just, waiting to be implemented when the time was right. So while we have some people out there who are speaking about these things as if they were done by one person, that one person got up and made a decision and said, well, I'm going to do this. That is not the case. These are things that were being debated by cabinet based on the information that I have, that had been discussed before, and so on. And they are decisions that were made by the government over the period of time. Government including all of the persons who were sitting in the cabinet, because that's what the government is. The government is not just one person, so one person can't just come out and claim all of the good decisions. Sometimes I look at what's going on in the Federation, and I look at the politics, and I have to marvel. Because here we have some persons out there, and every single thing that the government does, they claim it as though they're doing it, and I can't understand it. Every single thing that is done is now being claimed that this one person do it, or I did this, or I did that. No, that is not how government operates. Government is a collective. The cabinet works together. They bring things to cabinet. They have discussions on them, and cabinet makes decisions. And when cabinet makes decisions, and the majority of cabinet say, well, this is the decision, then it is the decision for all. It's the cabinet's decision. It's not one person's decision. So I have to laugh, because I find it really amusing how some things are being portrayed out there right now by some people, that they would want us to believe that somehow all of the decisions being made, everything that is beneficial to the average man on the street, everything that's beneficial to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, is one man decision. And that is clearly not the case. So some announcements were made recently about salary increases, and I think the salary increase that was mentioned is a 10% increase, and 10% increase in salary by any stretch of the imagination is a significant increase. You look around the region, you don't see any other country in the region giving 10% increase. You might hear about 1% or 1.5% or 2% increase, but you don't normally hear about 10% increase. I think back in 2014, I think it was, the then Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas, would have announced an increase that was spread over 3 years, where 4% was given in the first year, and then 3% in the following 2 years, to make up just about 10% in wage increase. And now we have another 10% increase. So from 2014 up until now, which is just about 8 years, we have seen 2 10% increases in salary here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I believe that is remarkable. I understand what the last caller said about for persons at the lower spectrum of the salary, that the actual amount increase might not be as much as somebody who is a middle income earner or a high income earner, but nonetheless it is a significant increase. I always like to encourage people as much as possible to do some skills training. Go out and do a course. You know, if you're working in an office, do a course to improve yourself. That way you can improve your earning power, you can improve your earning capabilities, you can get certified in something. And it's always important to try to go out and do that. I always try to encourage people, young people, middle-aged people, to get as much training as you can. Do not be satisfied with, you know, being at one particular level. Go out and try to improve yourself and try to see, you know, how much further up the ladder you can get. And that is the advice that I always try to give to people. If you're doing something, if you're employed in a particular place, try to make the best out of it. Try to do the best that you can do. Try to advance as much as you can advance. So whatever courses are available, whatever class you can take, if you need to get a couple more subjects, if you need to do an afternoon class, do what is necessary to help yourself to improve. I mean, it makes no sense to sit down there and just to be stagnant and then, you know, to go and say to somebody, well, I need you to do this for me, or I need you to do that for me. We have to you know, try to help ourselves. That is the advice that I always try to give to people. There are lots of young people I see around the Federation. They go to the bank and they take a loan to try to advance themselves, to try to advance their education, go off to university and so on, to get a degree or to get a certificate or whatever the case may be. And I really feel good every time I see people doing that type of stuff. The government here in Nevis has been assisting. We've assisted quite a lot of students to go off to follow their dreams and to fulfill their dreams, you know, to get some tertiary education. So we try as much as possible to assist, and we try as much as possible to encourage people. And if that is not your path, and your path is to do something else, then whatever it is that you're doing, try as much as possible to get as much training as you can get, to learn as much as you can learn. If it's on-the-job learning that you need to do, try as much as possible to do the on-the-job learning, and that way you can advance yourself. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello.
Good night, brother Troy.
Good night. How are you doing, brother?
No, I'm here just thinking, you know, just training with you because I went out, you know.
Okay. So how things going?
Oh man, things ain't going too bad.
Okay. Talk
Things ain't going too bad. I just listen, you know, I thought not and I had some questions to ask you anyway, but...
Well, you can ask the same questions.
No man, you know, when you catch my answer. No, Charlie. No, you come with it, you know.
How so?
With what you was just saying.
What's that?
With the young people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of them up and down argue that, oh, we want to use the one, this one to use. So this, you know, things that just come so. You are go there and still go by a power star. But you level by your and go out there. Eh? In this country, the minimum wage and the highest minimum wage in the United States. So they go to the Dominica, St. Lucia, and all them places they work. And other country. The minimum wage, low. Because some of them still have to $6 an hour. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It told me that these young men and women open up the thing because these men will come in and I tell them all the time. The Jamaican men will come in with a skill. The Guyanese men will come in with a skill. The Santa Domingan will come in with a skill. the Haitian might come in with a skill, and all kind of different countries will come in with a skill. And you know that we got the movement now, they can't stop them. And they don't get a job. When you refuse to go on a trade, it's important to learn something, especially in the construction sector, in the hotel sector. I should know that these young girls working on the road, working up grass. I got to ask, must you cheer them there? If I don't have no particular, if you are about all the time. Man, so much hotel open, so much hotel open, I'm not good at the pandemic there. But I see some of these young girls, like, they keep in this another, you know, in the traditional industry. And most of the father, the grandmother, the brother, some of them work in the sugar industry for their life. It seems to me like a solicitor on this thing. Young people want to work. And a step program all the time. I work on a program with the can't learn a trade or nothing.
The program is called STEP because it's supposed to be a step in the right direction.
A step in the right direction to step up, to move on to somewhere. But Charles, let me tell you something, you know. We got to talk to our people now. We got to talk to our people for you. Because if we don't talk to them, we don't let them understand that where they're going is not the way they're supposed to go. We're going to be in trouble in the later stage. Because remember, these people got children. Some of them have grandchildren. And when they come and have children, they don't know nothing.
And
as I said,
they have to show example to their children.
And get it to do work, especially in the hotel. Okay, brother Charles, if I have anything to say, I will start that.
Thank you very much, caller. You know why I like this show? Because anytime you say anything on this show and you make a little slip, somebody is gonna send you a correction. So I have a little correction a bit earlier when I spoke about the Charlestown Secondary School sports, and I said that there was an exceptional athlete. So I was sent a correction. So the name of the athlete that I spoke about is Leon Thompson Jr. and the athlete is coached by Timothy Keynes, not Kervin Wallace. So Timothy Keynes also is an exceptional coach. He was an exceptional athlete, and so I think the young chap has very, very good guidance. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. We've lost a caller. Callers, please be patient with us. We'll try to take as many calls as possible. If you don't get in the first time, then surely call back and do try to get in, because we want to get your contribution. So the athlete, as I said, is coached by Timothy Keynes, who has a track club, very good track club. He has quite a lot of good athletes that he trains. He himself was an athlete in the past and would have left Nevis to go to the United States to run. I think he would have run track in college and so on. So he's somebody who knows his way around the track and who knows his way around athletics. So he's an exceptional person, not just in athletics, but in many other things that he does. So that young chap, we are looking for exceptional things in the future, and it looks like a star in the making. So we had the correction. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Back to sports again. Education shouldn't be responsible for every school having a sponsor before the championship, or assisting.
If education shouldn't be responsible for every school having a sponsor,
yeah.
The schools go out and they speak to.
Yeah, but if the school can't find none.
What you mean the school can't find none? So which school didn't have a sponsor?
Me not call nobody school pan here, but you can do your research and you will know, because you're in a position to do that.
All right, caller. you seem to have a lot of information, caller.
Yeah, I think that was poor.
What's that?
I think that was poor. So don't let that mistake happen again for next year as well. So I just jot down some of the mistakes. So I hope you got your pen and paper.
Alright, caller.
Yeah, man.
Alright, take care of yourself. I like this caller tonight. Let's go back to the lines of another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. We've lost that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We're past the 9 o'clock hour, 10 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open. The numbers to call 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello, good evening. Sympathy greetings going out to M&T Thompson of the passing of Billy.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry, you broke up a bit. Hello?
Sympathy going out to M&T on the passing of Billy in Brown Hill.
And Billy?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, Carla. Thank you very much, Carla. Well, I was not aware of that, so I too would like to add my condolences, and I must say that I'm very shocked by that. I was not aware. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, Foy.
Good
I would
night.
like to send over sympathy greetings to Mignon Wade, Hilary Gissard, and Mavis Gissard. Sympathy going on to all of them coming in from Gilly and the entire Walwyn and Tyson family in Brown Hill, and also for Emilton Thompson in Brown Hill, passing of his husband Billy. Sympathy greetings also going on to them from Gilly. Bye.
Thank you very much, Carla.
You're welcome.
You have a wonderful night.
So bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. Let's stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
You try Megan.
Yes.
Politics Megan.
Go ahead.
You try. Yeah. One. Now, I hear you talking about the letter where the Governor General, reading out a letter from the Governor General. Well, try, make me understand your point. We were talking about. We were saying that
Well, what I did was I just read the letter, and I said that the Governor General has responded, and the Governor General basically said that he did not have the authority to remove the Prime Minister like that. I didn't really attach an opinion to it. I just basically read what the letter said.
Child, you're not playing that those who file the motion on a condemnation against the Prime Minister. They put the foot in the mouth, you know.
Why you say that, Carla?
Because if election got to call to that tomorrow, up to now, some of them, from the parties, them can't get a represent a candidate in the constituency, you know. Especially those who file the thing. They can't get a candidate in a constituency. You see all it in number 3, with certain parties you are going to name a call. You hear this name a call, in number 4 you are going to name a call. You know, it let them mix up. If you try, when we trust politicians to go in there to serve the country and to serve us well, this is the way they disappoint us with it. The last 5 years and 5 years was what they were doing, especially after the pandemic. But it seems to me like they let people move. Coming on and different ways of talk show and a man in time, especially all the man in time. Get them confused and do all these things.
Carla, you see, the thing is, I understand where you're coming from, because your point of view is that you would have supported a cause, and you would have supported a movement, and that movement would have won election, and they're in government, and you would want that movement to stay together and to continue to govern in the best interests of the people, and to ensure that the people are served properly. And that is what I think that government should do. And that is what I think that when unity was formed, when everybody came together and said that we need unity because we need a different way to go forward, that the whole idea was about serving all of the people of the Federation.
Yeah.
That is what I think the whole idea was about, and that is what I think
try,
you want.
Why don't wait till just after this election? Why don't you ask the same question? Why don't you play a next election with the PLP, with the Prime Minister and the party? Why did that say so much things was going on?
Because
Parliament and never hear nothing like them we're here now.
No, but Carla, you want...
I'm going to tell you something, right? You know what happened? What happened right now, the Prime Minister getting a lot of pay, and even from the different political side, people talking about the good job the Prime Minister is doing, and I believe that is going to be done for. And I believe the 2022 election, when they went into 2022 election, they went into 2022 election because they know that they could not win because Dr. Harris there, as the leader at the movement, that's where they went into election. They had all this stuff, it looked to me like they had all this thing planned. Because
Carla, you can't. Carla, you can't say that, you know. Let me tell you. No, Carla. Hold on. You see, Carla. You're willing to listen to me for like a minute?
Yes.
Okay. See what happened, right? Now after the 2020 election, you realize that CCM had 3 seats, that PAM had 4 seats, and that PLP had 2 seats. So if anybody was disingenuous at that time, right, PLP and PAM could have formed a government on their own because 4 and 2 would have made 6, and that represents a majority of elected members. So that could have been the government. At the same time, PAM and CCM could have formed the government together and left out PLP because CCM had 3 seats and PAM had 4. So that would have been 7. That would have been a majority. But the guys came together and the guys said, hey, let's work. Whatever differences we have, let's put those differences aside and agree to work together in the best interests of the Federation. Because moving forward, there are some things that we want to get done. Now, I live on Nevis. I am a member of the Nevis Island Administration. I am a CCM. I am the chairman of CCM. Okay? And I know that when the parties came together, that one of the reasons why us here in Nevis decided that we are going to work together with PAM, and when PLP was formed, that we're going to work together with PLP also, right, to remove the government that was in at the time, is because we felt that we in Nevis were being treated badly. We weren't getting what we determined to be our fair share, or what we call our fair share. That was our, big thing coming in. Okay? Now, we got into this government, and we've been very patient, because not all the time we've been getting our fair share. But sometimes when we look at the numbers, you see, sometimes you're not getting the numbers currently as they happen. You're not getting the numbers. So if the country makes 100 million, we don't know that 100 million is made one time. It's only after, when we see the numbers come out, we realize, well, 100 million was made last year, but Nevis only get 5. We see 500 million was made last year, and we realize, well, Nevis only get 20. We are finding out sort of after the fact, right? And after we see that happening, we're saying, well, look, but guys, this is not what we agreed to. While we are getting something, it is not what we agreed to. And we are having conversations and we are saying, but guys, this needs to change. And we are getting, well, we're going to work on it. And we're going to work on it. And every time we're going to work on it. But there comes a time when we have to say that we are representing the people. And we have to make sure that people well represented. Right? So,
maybe the Prime Minister said that, well, he work it out that when the money come in from CBI. And when you see that, because remember the Prime Minister is a doctor in accounts.
Yes, I agree.
Right? So when you see that money come in, and you see the population of St. Kitts, and you work out that, you say, let me show you this to me, because whatever. You understand? But I believe that the money is supposed to be given a account for. Like I said, if you can bring in what they call him again, the people in some overseas.
But why do we need them to give an account for the money? You just said that he's a doctor in accounting. So whoever he is going to bring in is not as qualified as him to look at money.
Well, but he bring them in because they export and evidence.
I'll tell you something too.
When this money come
I'll tell you something too. I'll tell you something too. I'm very good with numbers. I'm an engineer by trade, right? And when an engineer goes to university, most of what he does is maths, right? So I'm very good with numbers, right? Right, Carla? I'm very good with numbers, right? So when it comes to counting money and adding and subtracting and whatever, I'm good with that, right? So we don't need anybody to come in to tell us what fair share is.
Okay, try. Okay, before go. Okay, so like the Amex Unity Farm. But the farm with the PLP, the farm with the NRP. If I'm
with who?
If I'm with...
I thought I heard you say NRP.
With the Labour Party. Why if I'm with the Labour Party?
Because,
in government.
Carla, you got to win seat. You got to win seat to farm government. What's that?
The Charlestown Accord, you think it will still stand?
Well, the Charlestown Accord was between PAM, PLP, and CCM. Right? So if the government that is formed is a different construct, then the Charlestown Accord will not be for that construct. Something else would have to be put in place for that construct. There would have to be some sort of agreement with the parties with whatever the construct is.
That's right. That is because the major separation, the major move from the Prime Minister that the motion of content.
You're talking about from our perspective here in Nevis?
Yes.
From our perspective here in Nevis, we have not gotten our fair share. Okay? And that is what we have spoken about from day one. We have not changed anything that we have been saying, I remember because I campaigned along with Dr. Harris. And I recall that Dr. Harris spoke so many times about that same fair share for Nevis. I remember having conversations with Dr. Harris, and Dr. Harris said Nevis deserved that fair share.
But the amount of money in Nevis gone out in Nevis.
Yes, but Carla, the amount of money that came to Nevis is about $320 million. Okay.
Hold on,
Carla. It's about $320 million. Right? Hold on, Carla. I agree with you with that, but you have to understand that we are part of the federation. It's not St. Kitts and Nevis too. It is St. Kitts and Nevis, right? So we are not asking for anything that ain't ours. We are not asking for any tax money that comes into St. Kitts. No, this is non-tax revenue that comes from CBI. That's what we are talking about, right, Carla?
Okay,
you say
before go, let me see how we get enough. Well, if we got to go back to the poll, and
Carla, the will of the people is the will of God. You hear, Carla? In a democracy, the will of the people is the will of God.
Let me see how things work out.
And let the people decide.
Let the people decide.
It's up to the people to decide what what they think is best. The majority, at the end of the day, the majority speaks. At the end of the day, me personally and the party that I represent, Concerned Citizens Movement, we respect the electorate. At the end of the day, we are not here to thwart the will of the people in any way. At the end of the day, we are not here to fight against the will of the people. If the will of the people is to see X, that is what we want to see.
Suppose that CCM downfall in the federal election coming up.
Well, how is that going to cause CCM downfall, Carla? How is that going to cause CCM downfall?
The downfall, because let me tell you, Vance Amaru, that the Honorable Vance Amaru was there, Harry was there, and I never hear the situation about patient and all these things, and Nevis was developing up under them, whether they put loan or not.
But Carla, St. Kitts was developing also, you know. But St. Kitts had developed some massive.
So they gave the CBI program anymore.
Well then, if there is no CBI, hold on. Well, Carla, if there is no CBI program anymore, then all of us will have to find ways. All of us will have to be innovative, and all of us will have to find ways to raise capital to get things done. But Carla,
that's why it's take something.
No. That's not how it works, Carla. We can have $100 that belong to me and you decide to take 95 and want to give me 5 and say it is fair. And understand that, because if I took 95 and told you to take 5 and tell you to take something and hush, you would not take that. If Nevis took $5 billion and gave St. Kitts $320 million, all of you would jump up and say that it's wrong. You would jump up, and all the rest of you would jump up and say that it's wrong. So because it is the reverse, and because the shoe is squeezing our foot, y'all don't want us to make the noise? Let me tell you, if the shoe squeezing my foot, I'm gonna make noise.
You work out by the population. Somebody get a chance. Good night.
Yes, Carla. Thank you. But it has not been working out by population. We have another caller. You know, today I saw a graph, and that graph needs to go around for everybody to see it. We have a caller? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello?
Hey, Troy.
Yes, good night.
The present situation, right, and Nevis right now, bring to mind the story of the dog and the bone. The dog that was crossing the river with the bone, but I go ahead. Because, you know what happened? Somebody gonna get on doggy, you know, and somebody gonna get on parry. Alright.
Alright, you have a wonderful night. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. Let's stick with the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hi, good evening, Troy. This is Mark Brantley. How are you?
Good evening, my brother. How are you? I'm good, man.
I am well. First of all, thank you for hosting the show for me tonight. I sincerely appreciate it. But I wanted to report that we have just returned to Nevis from Antigua, where we went up to show our respect and support for the first ever bishop from Nevis to the Anglican Church, Father Ernest Fleming, now Bishop Ernest Fleming. As you know, he's a son of the soil from St. Thomas's Parish, Barnsley, to be exact. This is what I was told. And certainly there was a tremendous pomp and circumstance and ceremony in Antigua. I was very proud that there was some 17 Nevisians that went up to support members of the Anglican community here, but also members of the cabinet and other colleagues who went up and showed our support and our respect. And, you know, it was duly recognized in the church that a large contingent from Nevis was there, and we were quite pleased. So I wanted to just use this forum and wider listening to again congratulate Bishop Ernest Fleming, who is now the new bishop for the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba, the Diocese of Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba, Anglican bishop. He takes over from Bishop Errol Brooks from Anguilla, but I think today was particularly significant and historic because it was the first time that the Nevisian is ascending to such high office. And really it was something to behold, to be there and to witness that. So I just wanted to share that and to let the public know, but also to congratulate again Bishop Fleming and his entire family.
Thank you very much for that, brother.
All right. Thank you again, Troy. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
I too would want to add my congratulations to Bishop Fleming, somebody who I know very well. We would have played some dominoes and so on together and had some good times before he went off to Antigua. And so I want to send congratulations to him. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. It's 9:30 now. We are moving up towards the 10 o'clock hour. And the lines are open. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Somebody just sent me a WhatsApp message and tell me, cool down, try. I notice you're getting a little hot. Mr. Politics had you going, but it's not that he had me going or anything like that. But I just find it, reprehensible that anybody could say that, oh, because we're getting $5 in Nevis, we should just take that and cool. No, not at all. We are not about that. That's not what CCM is about. That's not what the people of Nevis deserve. We're going to fight for everything that the people of Nevis deserve. Let's go back to the line. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night. I just want to say that they came over to Nevis, in front of Nevis Courthouse, in front of the Nevision public, to sign, and we deserve to get what belongs to us. We got a bone in our rice. We got a doggy. Now they want to give us a Timmy. Oh no.
Not at all. Not at all. I like that caller. Let's go back to the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. We've lost that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. Please be patient with us, callers. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello.
Yes, good night. You're on the mark.
Good night. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good.
What you have for us tonight? Listen to me on the mic and respond. Your radio might be a little bit behind. You could turn on the volume.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
What is Mr. Troy?
Yes, this is Troy. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Put in my little input now. God, I hear you keep saying fair share, which is yes, that's where you are at agreement.
Yes.
But what about you there?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes. You're right. Yes, you were mentioning about fair share. What about the two-term too? You all ain't getting the fair share, but you all signing two-term too. What you all want to the
Caller.
Yes.
There was nothing in the document about 2 terms or anybody serving 2 terms. What was in the document was that nobody would serve more than 2 terms. There was nothing in there that said that the Prime Minister was entitled to 2 terms. That the leader of CCM or the leader of PAM or the leader of PLP was entitled to 2 terms. There was nothing in the document that said that.
Yes, if you all had agreement.
But who had the agreement, Carla? You had the agreement?
Listen, one time I called Mark and I said, Mark, you know something? You all trying to match up. And I heard you start to Mr. Politics telling you, oh, you had a win seat to plan moment. I agree, but you all sound vindictive about that.
About vindictive about what?
To be honest, I was saying that, okay, CCM Road Nevis, the local election, that's what you call it? So you all know that you are afraid going smoothly over this, so when the federal government match up in things, now you all don't care. That's how I look at it, to be honest.
Why would you say something like that, Carla?
They need to,
If the federal government mash up for the whole federation.
Mash up things is needed. When you mash up the federal government, you think it's really operating properly. Nevis still running your state. Is that fair?
Carla.
Yeah.
When the federal government mash up for St. Kitts and Nevis, you know. So of course it bothers us. But I want to tell
you, in your job doing your thing, you are still get double pay.
Hold on, I never get a double pay, except when there's a double salary. But I want to tell you something, right?
Yes.
I am not such a old person, right? In 1983, when we got elections, I was about 2 years old. In 1970 late and 80 early, when the Constitution was written, I was either not born yet or I was a child. So I took no part in the writing of the Constitution. Okay, Carla? We have existed from 1983 until now with a particular Constitution. And I endeavor to work and do the best that I can within the framework of what we have. I have never been in a position where I can do anything personally to change the Constitution. I believe that there are some issues with it. There are some things that might need reworking. But several persons would have been in government over the years from 83 until now.
I don't want to take up too much of the time, but the grass always look green on the other side, and you all keep saying, oh, you have to win seat. You all just feel like the Prime Minister can't win enough seats. If this election is high, much of unity, you all ain't going to be in government, you know. Later, might get back in, and then you will see how bad it goes.
Well, Carla, I don't know who can win what seats or who cannot win what seats. I don't know about that. What I know is that if indeed it comes down to something like that, where there is an election, then the electorate will decide. Well, who is stopping anybody from serving 2 terms?
And then when cross, I hope you cross. I'm going to come and look for you. One eye you cross, I feel badly.
But who is preventing anybody from serving 2 terms? Nobody is preventing anybody from serving 2 terms.
Yeah, but I'm matching up the government.
Nobody is matching up anything. Some things would have been presented to the Prime Minister.
Listen, you know, something to try, to be honest. I mean, maybe you are in banks too much. But from the convention, okay? Whatever inside problem you all have it. I mean, you all have to bring it in problem. People like to start things that when they get it back, they can't handle it.
Carla, you remember PAM convention this year, right?
Yes.
You remember last year. Hold on, Carla.
Yes.
You remember last year PAM had their convention in Sandy Point?
I ain't too familiar with that.
Well, last year PAM had their convention in Sandy Point, and I went to Sandy Point and I spoke. Right?
I'm talking about this year convention.
Well, hold on. Okay. But the reason I'm saying that is because there were issues then, and when I spoke there in 2021, I highlighted some of the issues. So if persons really were genuine and they wanted to solve some of these issues, the issues could have been solved.
I don't want to cut you out. You know, sometimes when you're in position, you got to make hard decisions too.
So the hard decisions are made against Nevis.
You got to be a leader. If you're a leader of any organization, sometimes you got to make tough decisions. And everybody not you. I agree with the Prime Minister that be perfect, but he got to make tough decisions. And
okay.
I like Grant should out of the government. If he could have fired Grant, he would do it, but he couldn't do it. Grant should have done long time with the situation. But so
Carla, let me ask you something. You don't think that Nevis deserve to get a fair share of the CBI money?
Yeah, you deserve more, yes. So you deserve, okay, but I agree to it. I agree you deserve.
All right, Carla, thank you. But he would have been given a second term. He was well on his way to the second term.
Well, he anyway, why I try to break it up, I shouldn't get in a fair share. Now he won't contract match up. You laughing? I'm serious.
Man, you just said that we deserve our fair share. So hold on. So Nevis people fair share dependent on us sitting down.
I thought it sound harsh, but it's a time of right to see.
This is time for what?
I passport and just sing it on the own. If I want them on a dismiss, I go. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. Have a good night.
All right, Carla, you have a good night. Sometimes, sometimes you have to say things to hear what people really have in them. And I'd say that that's an interesting development that we just had there. Let's stick with the lines anyway. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm okay. You're listening. I don't know how to call it. No disrespect to your program. But you're entertaining some people here by...
We call it everybody has an opinion, and we try to respect people's opinion. And sometimes it's good to listen to people.
It's your program.
But
you had a man there called Mr. Politics. I believe he and Mark's program last week. If I am mistaken. And Mark had a man for good work. And try let me tell you, that man did lamb-based Mark Tuesday night and Weber program now. And he couldn't tell Mark what he said Wednesday night. You understand me? Are you listening? Nobody tell me. He couldn't tell Mark what he said Wednesday night. He said people call him from overseas, all from Nevis and tell he. Nothing happening in Nevis. That's what he said Weber Tuesday night. That's what he said Weber program. They never asked me how much people are Nevis call me, tell Weber he don't call that. He couldn't answer. But so much people call him from overseas and from in Nevis. Tell he. Not happening in Nevis. He couldn't tell Mark for Wednesday night. And Mark had him on for a good bit of time. The man is a cook. Free to. They start playing your back and they feel to tell you what they say in front of the face. That's all I want to tell you. And then you keep him on here again tonight for so long. He chatting nonsense. Anyway, good night.
Alright, caller. You have a wonderful night. Ladies and gentlemen, let's stick with the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I think it's people are some crooks.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. I am Troy Liburd. I'm your host tonight. It's about 17 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. Let's try to get some more calls. Numbers to call: 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Go ahead.
Good night. Congratulations to the Right Honorable Elroy Fleming of the Anglican Church, that he became Bishop of the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba.
Thank you very much for that, caller.
He served at St. Thomas's and St. Paul's Anglican Church. Thank him for being the Bishop of the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba.
That was wonderful today.
Thank you.
I didn't get to make the trip. Yes?
When our people and
you're breaking up a bit, caller. You're breaking up a bit. Could you move to a different location?
And discuss the matter with Nevis.
Caller, you're breaking up just a bit. Could you shift a little bit so that we could get the reception better?
Okay.
Hello? Hello, caller? You there?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm hearing you better now.
I would like to know when a representative from the around the round table to discuss these serious issues that we have in our country.
Caller, you're breaking up a bit. I can hardly hear you. Once you start to talk, I heard round table.
Okay.
But I didn't hear much more.
However, good night.
Okay, caller.
Yeah, okay. All
right. I do apologize for that. I think you were trying to make a good point, but unfortunately, we could not hear what the caller was saying. Do we have another call? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night. Last point. I think Leston Blackett need to be included in the organization of the Interprimary, because for the past years he has had two websites, Nevis AAA and Nevis SP, and you could have find the results and pictures and so on the on the website. Now, several years now I've been trying to tell them that the 1200 meter record that they have been announcing is wrong. That record was broken by Tiana Liburd from St. James's Primary School, and it's supposed to be 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And you said that there is going to be a briefing to change from the point system, right?
I never said that. I said there are going to be some changes.
Some changes?
And the changes during the briefing, some of the changes would be spoken about.
Okay, cool. And take that point, please, because you don't seem like you penetrate to nobody.
All right, caller.
Yeah.
You have a good night.
Yeah.
Do we have any other callers holding? Yes, we have a caller holding. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Okay, that caller doesn't seem to be coming through. Let's try the next line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello.
Hello, yes, you're on.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Try.
Yes, caller.
You don't laugh when you finish these shows.
If I don't laugh when I finish the show?
Yeah.
They say laughter is good medicine.
Because I hear trying to understand and to follow the show, right? And I'm sorry to say, but some comics they really come on the show, you know.
Well, everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Yes, right, I agree. But simple math. Fair share. Why they taking this fair share and making it so big and so great? Simple math. If you got a bread and you cut it in 4 quarters, saying it got 30,000 people and Nevis got 10,000, then Nevis get a quarter. I mean, I am a Kittitian, and I am proud Kittitian, and by extension, Kittitian division. But come on, we are one family, brothers and sisters. And according to Mark a few weeks ago, Mark stated that the CBI brought in, I think, was $500 and something million.
588 in 2021.
Okay, great. Okay, great. 588. Okay? It simply means if you brought in 588, at least 100 and at least $22 million should have been given to Nevis. That's the fair share. You know, no rocket scientists from overseas and underseas. A simple math. It's simple math. So people just taking up this fair share thing. They hear people attack, they don't understand what people are saying. People are telling things who say, and they don't understand it, and they just run. What kind of truck in Nevis? The Mongo truck? With its full speed, and they're not sure where to drop the button. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Do we have another caller holding? Yes, we do. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. We've lost that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to take as many calls as possible. The calls are coming fast and furious. If you don't get in, you can call back. We'll try to take calls down to about 3 minutes to the hour. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are on the mark. Good night.
Good night. Please tell me when the 14 days expires for the speaker.
The 14 days? I think it's supposed to be 21 days. I think that was in reference to the motion of no confidence. I believe that the Speaker has 21 days to bring forward the motion of no confidence. So we will see what happens on that front. Let's go back to the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello, caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hi, good night, Mr. Liburd. How are you?
Good night. I'm doing okay. How are you?
Okay. I don't even know where to start from listening to some of those callers, but I am with the CCM, my CCM team, and also the PAM team. You know why I will say that? We cannot allow Mr. Timothy Harris to get any more strength, because if we allow to continue out and for him to spend his full 2 terms, we see what has been happening. We've been hearing all along that he are gearing up persons in the other constituencies to run. And when we signed up for Team Unity, because I supported Team Unity, when we signed up for Team Unity, there was no other constituencies for the People's Labour Party other than number 7 and number 3. But look what happening now. He been working behind the backs of the people who has been supporting him. And as I was told, he has his materials, his campaign materials that will be landing in St. Kitts very shortly. So you know what that means? He has been really behind our backs. He's been working overtime behind our backs. So that's why when election is called, we, the people, we will go out and make sure that PLP does not get the full support that we would have given to them. And also, I feel very sad for Miss Byron. You know why? We give her a doggy because I don't think she signed up for everything that has been happening. And when I look, the prison becomes a priority when education and health should have been a priority. How can he say he's starting to build a prison? Not that I am not in support of the prisoners being comfortable, but this is basically showing that he is more concerned of fulfilling whatever he has to fulfill to build a prison. And I'm sorry.
Sometimes when something look a certain way, you look inside the matter and you see what's in there, because maybe it's more than the pestle.
Yes, and I am sorry to think very low. And not, as I said before, not that the prisoners does not deserve to be in a comfortable position, but this is encouraging for persons. It's two things I will look at it as. This is encouraging for persons to go and commit crime because they know they will be relaxing, comfortable, or is he providing comfort for the bad men? I'm sorry to say. I am very sorry to say, but we the people, and I am as a young person who is interested in politics, we need to go out and make sure that the young persons around us, they are, well, I will say they are already registered, and also we speak to, because the old folks, most of them, they can't change. So we have to make sure the young electorate, we educate them and we let them know what's been going on. Because Mr. Timothy Harris is no good. But I'm very sorry. I feel it for Mr. Keela Byron. And what I think she should do not support him. Then everything shut down for him. She does not support him because he has ended her political career. Nowhere that young lady will go back to and win the polls again. Nowhere, because overwhelmingly, persons in constituency 3 who were PAM, they supported her. Those who were Labour also turned and supported her. And not that they really wanted to turn from Labour, but as a young woman, they wanted to give her support. And I am very sorry for that young lady. My heart aches for her because he has ended her political career one time. Miss Byron, do not go out and support Mr. Harris. End it there right now. Thank you, Mr. Liburd. Good night.
Thank you very much, caller. Do we have another caller holding? Let's stick with the lines. Go back to the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. We've lost that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, please do call in. We're going to try to take a few more calls. The numbers are 1616 and 1700. Do you have a caller holding? Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. We've lost that caller. We're losing all these callers tonight. You know, I'm enjoying myself here tonight. But when I think about this whole fair share thing, I've been on the radio several times and I've spoken about this fair share. Why do we need to talk about it? Everybody knows what's fair. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello? Caller, could you turn down the actual radio and listen to me through the phone?
Good night, good night, good night.
Good night. You're on the mark.
Yes, you know why that's gonna happen, because he get 15 houses and he ain't getting no consistency none. Only he own, that was bad. He should have given him the shift to also. Should let the people up here know that, see that he, you know. She really did something for the term she was in there. Lord have mercy. All for here, none for we. Lord, play the song when you're going out to here. And I don't know, Mr. Politics, will he non-triplet them, hush him out, you know. Last week, he spoiling him, Mr. Brantley show how long he come again this week with the whole nonsense story. Yeah, and here, fair shares for all.
Exactly.
Not for some and some. We know here is where we go. Well, now we're going on in a bit, we'll just be gimmicking around, okay?
All right, caller. I like what that caller just said. Fair share is for all. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are on the mark. Good night.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Of all the processes I've seen in the law, if there's a legal process going from A to B, there has to be an equal legal process going from B to A. But apparently in this federation we have what we call a Catholic constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. But caller, you know, nothing is tested legally until it goes to the court. So persons out here like me or anybody else could have an opinion on anything. We see a law written and we have an opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a judge is going to interpret it in the same way that we see it. So I have learned that there are ways, procedures and so on when it comes to the court, and the court sees things in a different way. They interpret the letter of the law and the spirit of the law and all of these different things. If I wanted to be a lawyer, I would have gone to school and I would have read the law and studied the law. People like the Honorable Mark Brantley, they did that, and they are very, very good with the law when it comes to legal matters and politics and so on. I let Mark them go to the front and I let them handle those kind of things. When it comes to numbers and getting work done and that type of thing, that's when I like to step out to the front. Everybody has a different role to play, of course. Do we have another caller? Okay, we're just about coming up to the end of the show. So I was saying, you know, everybody has a different role. Some people good with the law and some people good with different things. The Governor General, he is somebody who is a lawyer, a trained lawyer. He was once the Attorney General. He's one of the framers of the Constitution, I think. One of the persons who would have done a lot for the law in St. Kitts and Nevis. So he has his opinion. Different people have their opinion. Law and opinion, you know, only when it goes to the court and is tested that you can really see what's going on. There's a motion of no confidence that's before the Parliament. Luckily, this Team Unity government would have gone to the House and they would have put a time limit on bringing a motion of no confidence. And so that 21 days, the clock has been running on that 21 days, and we will see what happens if and when a motion is brought to the House. And then from there we will see where we go in the Federation. It's a sad state. I don't think that it should have gotten to this point, but then again, it was not my it was not up to me. I don't think it was up to Mark for it to get to this place. Mark has been there, and Mark has been one who has always pushed for what is right and for what is good for the Federation. He has certainly been a champion for the people of Nevis, and we, whatever the situation is and whatever comes, we will face it head on. The Concerned Citizens Movement, of course, we represent the people of Nevis, and we're not going to settle. We are not going to take $5, as one caller suggested earlier. We're not going to take $5 and be happy when we know that the fair share for the people of Nevis is much more, because we have the people to serve. The people have needs here in Nevis. We have the island to develop, and all can go one way and the other people just sit down there and watch. That is not fair. We would not have allowed it to be all coming to Nevis and then going to St. Kitts. So why should we allow it to be the other way? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for tonight. We had a wonderful time together. Of course, for those of you who did not catch the show tonight, the show is going to be rebroadcast tomorrow at 1. So that's our show for tonight. Do have a wonderful night. I enjoyed my time here. I am Troy Liburd. Do have a good night.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited.